Good afternoon. I am back with you today to show you how to make lemon scones. This recipe uses the biscuit method, which is why I chose it, because I'm trying to give you a variety of mixing methods for both cakes and quick breads. So, how do we begin? Let's take a look at our mise en place. We have sugar, we have baking powder and salt, we have flour, we have cold butter, hard cold butter cut up into bits. We have milk, we have a lemon, and we have an egg. So how do we begin? We're going to begin by adding all of our dry ingredients to the bowl. So that's the AP flour, the sugar, which seems to be stuck in the bowl, the baking powder and the salt. And I want every bit of that leavener out and the salt to make sure we get good flavor. And then I'm simply going to take a whisk if you have one, a fork if you don't, and blend these ingredients together. Just a kind of a quick stir. The fork will do the job just as well as the whisk will. So we have the dry ingredients blended. I am now going to take my lemon and I'm going to zest it. This is not the prettiest looking lemon, but it's been washed. And I am going to simply, nope, not that direction. I'm going to simply pull just the outermost skin off this poor, sad, squishy lemon, but it's coming. All of the flavor in these lemon scones is coming from the zest of this lemon. So this poor little guy is gonna need to be juiced when we're done because it doesn't have much life left in it. But see, we're pulling just the outermost skin off this lemon. Just that colored part, because we don't want the white. And I'm going to take every bit of it for full and maximum flavor. I like to hold the lemon in one hand and draw the microplane across the lemon with the other, because you capture the lemon oil that way and it doesn't just dissipate into the air. So we're capturing it up here. All right, I'd say we did good. I'm going to take this, tap it into the bowl, and then one more time take our whisk and whisk the lemon zest in. All right, now I'm taking our butter, which again you can see is hard. I can't pinch it like I could for the cakes, so we're dropping it in. I'm going to get all these bits. I've cut them up into small 1/2-inch bits. I'm going to take the fork and kind of toss them, or your hands, and then using either your hands or a pastry blender, I'm going to cut this fat into the flour. Now if I'm doing it with my hands, I'm simply pressing and flattening the bits of butter out and just kind of working it into the flour until it's a bit smaller than pea size. I'm going to have to look and see exactly what the recipe tells us, what they call it, but this is the procedure. So I will come back with you and show you the finished product. Okay, I'm back with you, and the instructions were to cut the fat into pea size. I did not use the pastry blender at all. I just used my hands, and as you can see, we have bits of butter that are now pea size. So with that, I'm going to take our milk, crack a fresh egg into the milk, give it a bit of a scramble, make a mess, good like that. I want to blend that milk and the egg up together. I think I've done that sufficiently, as well as spilling a bit. I'm going to pour this over the dry ingredients, take the fork and lightly stir. This is almost identical to what we did with the pie crust. The exception here is the egg and the fact that there's more moisture added to this than there is a pie dough, obviously. So it's doughy, it's soft. We don't want to overmix it. And when I'm finished, I will show you how to shape it. Okay. All right, so this is the finished dough. It's definitely soft. I have dusted the bench with a little bit of bench flour, which is AP flour or bread flour, as you know. And I'm gonna just pull out all of this dough. All right. Get rid of this bowl. And then I'm gonna take this dough, add a little bit of flour to the top of it. And I'm not even gonna use a rolling pin. I'm just gonna pat this out into, I'm gonna say right there, which if I measured, I would guess would be about 7.5 inches in diameter. Okay, so we have a 7.5 inch circle, and I'm going to use, I can use this. Probably a better tool would be your metal bench scraper, and I'm gonna cut it directly in half. So I'm gonna get underneath it. I have it in half. And then if I want big scones, I could cut them in thirds. If I want smaller ones, I can cut them in quarters. Why don't we say thirds? We'll get a fair half a dozen. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then we pan them, one with the point going to the right, one with the point going to the left, one with the point going to the right. And I'll repeat that with the last 3. I like to put them close together because it makes for soft, tender sides. Now, these are gonna get finished. I'm gonna brush them gently with a little bit of cream, milk, or heavy cream, or half and half, and then I'm gonna sprinkle them with some coarse sugar. I'll show you that last technique in 1 second, and then we'll get them in the oven. Back with you, final step. I have a little bit of half and half in this bowl. As I said, you can use regular milk, you could use an egg wash, you could use heavy cream. I'm using half and half because that's what I have. You also could use water if you were didn't want to use the milk or the dairy product, simply because what we're looking for is something to get the coarse sugar to stick. Now, I'm using turbinado sugar. I'm sending home with you the equivalent of turbinado sugar, but highly processed, so it's gonna be white. This is kind of golden, and that's because it's less processed, but it has coarse granules that don't melt in the oven, but will leave it with a bit of a crunchy top. I have our oven set and ready to bake, and these should be done in, I would say, 12 to 15 minutes. I'll let you know for sure how long it took. These baked for exactly 12 minutes at 425 degrees, and they are just lightly golden brown.